Welcome to the show. And today we're setting up a timer for the pond. That's right. Thank you for joining me on another kind of shitty, gloomy Washington day. Yeah, I mean, it's not shitty. It's a nice day. It's a nice day. Don't get me wrong. It's just, yeah, I'm ready for spring to really be in beautiful mode. Yeah, not the cold. Yeah, not the cold. We want everything to be blooming and happy. Ain't that right, ladies? Blooming and happy. Huh? Same with you guys, huh? Okay. The main reason why I said that is we had a frost fog. So the fog rolled in and the temperature dropped. And it really made a lot of the blooms and killed a bunch of leaves and things on the trees. And I mean, from a distance, everything still looks pretty good. Everything still looks nice and sharp. But when you go look close up to the trees, everything has like frostbite on it. So it's a little sad on that aspect. Yeah. But everybody here is happy, huh? You guys are all hanging out on your perches. You got a little guy in there. Little Boo is inside. Leah's starting to do a little bit better. Yeah, she's starting to perk up a little bit. So, still really sad after losing Boomba, and so am I. I can't believe he hit his head and killed himself. Like, he's a pigeon. He should know how to fly. But when these guys see how they like chase each other, you know what I mean? And you know, they don't mean that. They're just, you know, being boys. But hey, sometimes it goes a little too far. Yeah, I'm not saying anybody he did anyone in, but you know, who knows? Alright, let's get this up. So, this timer guy, little guy right here, this is a little guy too, super little. So I want him to actually kind of mount with this guy on something, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure what I want to mount it on at this moment. So what I'm going to do is just wire it up and go from there. So at this point, we got our solar going into here. We got our battery going right here, and we got our light, which goes to the pump right there. So we can control the light here, or the pump from here, right? Turn it back on, you hear that? Or we can control it from here and shut it off too. But here soon, we'll be able to hit manual and do it on here in a third stage. So how this works, you can see the wiring on here. You notice how we got 3 reds and a black. And you might be wondering, why is that? Well, this is pretty neat. It'll do like all the way up to like 240 volt. This side here runs off of a 12 volt battery. So this powers the unit. And what's cool is it has an internal battery and it can literally go 6 months without a charge. And it'll be fine, which is really awesome. That's one reason why I got it, just in case for some reason the solar is down for a long time. You don't even have to reprogram it. Okay, so this side here is your actual switch. See, and this is a 16 amp, so which is perfect because it's way more than what the pump will ever do. So this guy here, what we're gonna do is we gotta put this in line with the power. So we have the white line here, that power line, that comes in from the battery, and then we got our negative side, the black one, that comes in from the battery. So we'll want to hook up those two sides right here, so we got the 12 volt positive and negative. But then from there we come down onto these wires, and this here is the negative and this here is the positive for the pump. So what we'll do is we'll put an inline right here. So we'll cut this. We'll put one side of the positive wire to this wire and the other side to this wire. And what that's going to do is the power will have to come up into the switch before it can feed out. And by doing so, when the switch shuts off, power shuts off. And when the switch turns back on, the power turns back on because it connects the circuit. So we're going to go ahead, strip these guys, wire them up, and then of course I got some heat shrink here because I wanted to make sure that we could get it all waterproof and good to go. And this heat shrink is really nice because it actually has a adhesive inside there. So when you heat up the tubing, what happens is you get kind of like almost like a glue stick interior. The interior is like almost like a glue stick, so it melts, and then it seals everything off and makes a nice waterproof layer. I got this because it's marine grade, and I like to go marine grade when we're outside because, especially with wiring, this is the best way to go. You make sure that if something gets wet, it's going to be all right. That's one reason why all our controls are so high up on the stand, and I have the box over top of it so rain can't get onto things and destroy it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start this process of just simply clipping the wires and splicing them together, and then heat shrinking them together. So, all right. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. And make sure when you hit the subscribe, you do the little bell notification, and keep watching this so you can learn how. Because that's how we do this. All right, I got to go get a couple things so that way we can continue this job. Yeah, we made it back. So, might be wondering, what did I need? I needed a good heat source for the heat shrink. Alright, this hair is getting in my eyes. So, we're going to go from like the Jesus look here to like the Hare Krishna look. And if you don't, if you find that offensive, whatever. Yeah, silly things. Alright, yeah, get that hair out of the eyes here. And get this going. This solar panel is actually doing quite good. While I was sitting here, it was at like 12.5, and now it's at like 12.9, which is great. We're really getting a good charge, and if the new owners wanted to get more power out of this bank, just add another battery. You really don't even require more solar. It's just when the sun is hitting and it's charging, it's going great, but then it just needs enough juice to keep you going. So that might be a little confusing to you, and that's all right. Basically, what I'm trying to get at and say is when the sun's shining on the solar panels, it produces more electricity than what the pump uses. When the sun is not shining on the solar panel, the pump is using up all the battery's energy. And the battery doesn't have a huge amount, it just has a good amount. And so this battery in itself, fully charged, will run that pump for about like a good 4 or 5 hours. But if we had two batteries and the battery is fully charged, well then that goes from like 8 to like 8 hours. You see how that works? And as we increase, so does the potential of how long it can charge for. Now, also the amperage on those solar panels is a big deal too, because how much electricity is each one of those producing? If you added more, then you would get more. Now also, on another factor, how much actual sun of the daylight are those solar panels getting where they're sitting? Now, currently, these solar panels are where they're at, not, and I repeat that, not because it's the most efficient place for them. In fact, it's actually not at all. It's one of the worst places for them. They're in the shade of this tree that's above us. That's horrible. And you might be wondering why I put them there. If it's so horrible, well, it's a great looking place. It's right on top of the coop, and it looks pretty. And I like the way it looks. Ideally, you'd want to put the solar panels actually right up there on the fence and run the wires down the fence to here. But then, I got these solar panels just randomly hanging next to the fence, and it doesn't look all that well. So I chose aesthetics over performance. So the new owners, if you don't care for the aesthetics, because you're not selling the place, it's your place, I would suggest moving the panels over there and mounting them to the fence, which would be pretty easy to do, and that itself might carry you through quite well. And then adding another battery to the bank, that would probably give you a good 12 hours a day of pumping. And then if you went further and actually added like 4 batteries to this and then another 100-watt panel, then at that point, you'd probably easily have 24 hours a day pumping for just another, I don't know, 250, 300 bucks worth of investment, which is really cool. And then you're having enough electricity where you can actually charge some other things on it too. Hi guys. Yeah, fun stuff. Alrighty, so we got our two sides here. We got that pulled out, stripped away. Now we'll go ahead and do the other two. I like to get everything all ready. Now on this thing here, these guys here, once you snap them on, I've used a lot of these connectors in the past, and some of them are a little bit different than others. Some of them seem like it's a little bit more temporary, where you just push them on, then you can pop them off easily. These guys are not that way. I felt like I was about to break this thing trying to get it back off. I put them on there so I wouldn't lose them, thinking I'd be able to get them back off quite easily, and then found out to my dismay that nope, they don't come off easily at all. There we go. Now we got all four of those. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so we're gonna take the power directly from the battery here, and so because of that, we don't want the battery to be like active. Yeah, we don't want the lines coming from the battery to be active when we mount them into the controller here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we have the battery is hooked up, negative, positive. That's running into the controller here. And so what we want to do is disconnect those, and then we're simply going to splice these wires, the positive and negative. We're just going to splice those in line on here. So we're actually what I'm going to do is cut this, splice that side, splice this side, and then connect that in there as a third. So that way we don't hurt the integrity of the gauge of the wire, because this is a thinner wire. So by still reattaching these together and then combining that one to it, it won't it won't be running all the electricity through a thinner wire. There we go. Make more sense? So the more amperage and more voltage going through the wire, the thicker the gauge you want the wire to be able to handle the amperage, so that way it doesn't get hot and melt the wire. Sound good, girls? Yeah. And you can hear the trash man in the background. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump ahead and get all that cut and spliced and put together and show you. Alrighty, there we go. We got it all connected on just the power negative. I went ahead and just reconnected it because, man, this, oh my god, is that annoying to listen to while you are rewiring this. But the solar's hooked up, and I didn't feel like unhooking the solar, because if those two ends touch each other in the solar panel, it can short out the solar and fry your panel. And why take the risk of accidentally doing that? So I just leave it and deal with the beeping like crazy. So you can see that the switch is actually on right now. Boom. So, and we are like, we're live right now. So there's no power here, because there's no power going into it, but the switch itself is open. I have the timer set for that, and you can see that I simply just put these two guys in line, and then I spliced it together so that way they're heated together. So this side and this side, they're still connected like they were, and then the wires just spliced on there with them, and then it's heat shrink in there. I used the full tube just so that way my connection is so far deep in the center there, it has enough, like, I know it's going to be waterproof by there. No issues at all. So we got negative side and positive side. Positive's white, negative's black. That's how I have it on here, at least. Boom, boom. Everything's all hooked up on that aspect. So now see, we got our pump our pump is shut off right here, right? So what that means is there's electricity going to the line. So if we turn this on here, okay, oh, sweet. So our pump did shut off from here, see? Aha. So you just want to make sure that this guy right here is going to be off when you go to do the next part. So how this next part is going to work is a little bit different. So we can't just simply splice them together like we did here, because we need the power line to travel up into the switch and then back down. So on this one, we're only going to use the power side, the white side. Now, I have that right here, so we're gonna cut it right here, so that way everything is next to the controller, just to make it super easy. And I'm actually gonna just simply leave the timer like under the controller like this, and then this will be over like this, and then the box over top. Yeah, so it'll all be in there, super simple. So you want to control the timer, you move it out, put it back. And if you're watching this and you're the new owner and you're trying to figure out how all this shit works, and for some reason the manual got thrown away, in order to program this guy here, you have to hit the CR 4 times to unlock the rest of the features to program. And then to set any program, you got to hit the P to go through the programs. So to unlock it again, you got to hit CR 4 times. And then you can adjust, like you can program the clock, you can program the when it turns on, when it turns off, all that good stuff. But you have to hit the CR 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it will unlock it, so that way you can program it. I have it set up right now, so we get from 11 o'clock to, what is it, 3 o'clock, something like that. We'll have the pump running, so like 4 hours, and that will make sure that there's plenty of time for the light to charge it and everything. Now that can definitely be expanded. I just want to make sure that it runs at least 4 hours a day. So let's go ahead and splice this guy in line. And so remember, we're not going to do it like these guys where we connected the wire together, because then it wouldn't be able to bypass. So literally we're going to cut the positive. One end of the positive is going to go here, and the other end of the positive is going to go here. So that way the positive has to channel through the wire and the switch will work. Hey. Yeah, well, I think you can see this okay. I just wanted to make sure that you could and show you this. I have the camera on reversed. It's kind of shitty quality, but whatever. So this side here to this side here, you can't see that, can you? Or maybe you can see it. So we have the controller right here. Boom, see? So we have the 2 positive ends, and then they're clipped and spliced, and then I have some heat shrink on both of them ready to go. Make sure you put your heat shrink on before you splice, or otherwise you're not going to be able to get it on. And then what I do is just go ahead and twist it, and then I like to pull it towards the smaller size when I'm using a very like kind of tight piece of heat shrink like this is. It's very close to size. So and then I'll just go over it, push it through. Sometimes they're a little bit tough to get on when you're using them with pretty tight wires, but as long as it's on there good enough, that's all that matters. Oop. There we go. Got it pinched on, just like that. And then what I do is I use the torch here and go up and down it pretty quickly, up and down, seal it up, seal it up. There we go. And you can see how it was just barely on the top part of the wire, but it was on there enough. Here's where we spliced it. It's nice and sealed in there. and then we got all that extra that's sealed there. So now we'll go ahead and do the other side. Twist it all together, make it nice, and then again run it along the smallest side, so that way because I'm using literally a piece of heat shrink that's just barely big enough to fit the gauge it's going on to. Yeah, but I'm doing that so I know it'll be a really good tight fit. There we go. Push it on kind of like a dry condom. Yeah, that would suck, huh? Alright. And again, I like to kind of hang it where it's not going to be, I'm not going to hit the flame towards anything else. You just kind of go quickly up and down, get it to melt. Get it to melt. On these colder, windier days, sometimes it takes a second. But man, when that heat shrink actually decides to shrink, it goes pretty quick. So the heat shrink actually can take way more heat than the stuff on the wire. Here, let me. That's a much nicer view. So you can see though, if you're not careful, that torch will start to bubble the insulation on the wire pretty quickly. This heat shrink can withstand way more hotter temperatures than what that can. But as you can see, it's all wired up now. It goes through the switch. So we're up to 13 volts here. Our switch is on here, and now we're going to go ahead and test this out because our time's on, the red's on, showing that the switch is on. So let's go ahead. Boom! And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is wired up and running on the timer. So now I don't have to come out here and switch this manually. I can just simply have it programmed to the times that I want it to turn on. And quick, easy, and simple. And the wiring's fairly alright. It's not quite a rat's nest yet, but yeah. Not there yet, but it's getting there. So yeah, we could definitely tuck those in and make them a little nicer, throw them all under some like conduit or wrap them up nicely. But underneath the battery, you're not really going to notice it too much. And everything's all in there. All our connections, look at that. They're all nice. Yeah, they're all waterproof, heat shrink, nice strong connections. They're never going to have to ever worry about, ever, which is perfect. So yeah, just have that in there. Go ahead and put our lid back on. Oh, those ladies are excited for me, aren't you? Aren't you, ladies? You're excited for me. There we go. Get on there. Boop. I like to just kind of put it up there on the lip there. So that way when it rains, the water runs off that side and everything's in there. So these wires, you just kind of tuck them underneath the box a little bit. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is all set up. Yeah, hell yeah. And this heat shrink, again, I got this stuff off Amazon. This is the Wirefly stuff, but off-brand, whatever. Anyways, get yourself some marine grade heat shrink that has the stuff on the inside. That, yeah, works really well. What do you think, ladies? You think we got it all done? We're all done. We're all done. Look at, and with that, the solar pond is automated. What? Do you hear that? Automation? Automation? It's automated, yeah. Automated, and don't even need no AI for it or anything like that. It's just automated, yeah. A simple timer, make things so much nicer. Yeah, I don't have to come out here, turn the pump on for them, wait for the battery to be charged. So I know by what I've been getting so far that 4 hours it can easily do a day. So by having that timer set, I don't have to worry about it running out of juice. Yeah, I can just sit back, let it go, and it'll be going strong. Just like these ladies, huh? I know I said it once.
But hit that subscribe button with the bell notification. That's how you get every one of these videos. That's right. And we'll see you in the next one.